All right, welcome in, David. After a couple weeks of going solo, looking at a preview of the 2026 class, glad to have someone back to kind of take a little of the hot wind out of my lungs, so I don't have to talk, just filibuster. But welcome back into the saddle here. And I feel like David, you were like definitely a influencer here on like us looking at dunks at all, and then definitely like putting together a full blown dunk show. So just a couple seconds here on what do you like about it? Reiterate a little bit about your multi sport kind of criteria that I feel like you were the first one to really think about that, and it turns out it's kind of important.
I guess the dunking part of it is mostly a fun thing. I mean, it's definitely cool to see, an explosive player in general. That's definitely a bonus there. I just find that basketball players in general tend to have really good body control and footwork. They also decelerate really well. I feel like so a lot of stopping and starting, and it kind of translates over to the football field. You can see it quite a bit with receivers, especially, but really, any position, honestly. So it's I don't get too carried away with it, I suppose. I am definitely looking for, just like I watch football tape, I'm looking for, like standout athletic traits on the basketball court as well. But like, it's just another piece of the puzzle, really. So, every player is different. It's just another piece of the puzzle. And maybe it strengthens my confidence level a little bit in a player's athleticism and in their overall profile.
Yeah, I mean, well said. I think if nothing else, you mentioned this is just fun. So this is only going to be released on YouTube this week. A lot of times we put our shows on podcast as well, but this is very visual show, and really is a fun show. We put together all these dunks from guys in the 2025 class, so you can be the one. You're be like, oh yeah, I knew that when they're all pro in the NFL, and someone goes F it. Bryce Underwood dunk highlights and has a little tweet about it. You can be like, oh yeah, I knew that 6 years ago, because you'll see those pop up every once in a while. Anyway, I mean, why not start with the number one player in the class? I'm just going to pull it right up here. Bryce Underwood can throw it down. 5-star QB headed to LSU. And he's a fun guy, but he's just the best quarterback. We didn't even need to see these dunks. I will just roll it one more time. But 6'4", 217, 97 star index. We love to see that. One of the strongest arms in the class, obliterating the competition this year. So, a little cherry on top there for Bryce Underwood, but nothing to see here. I mean, just fun that he can have some ups. Obviously, that was like in a practice setting, but a guy who I think, David, you were watching this week, and you can talk about it as I roll. We got two dunks for Tavian St. Clair, 5-star QB out of OSU. You walk us through Tavian St. Clair and what you're thinking about him.
Yeah, I think this is from like sophomore year. He was a lot skinnier back then. He's put on quite a bit of weight since then. But yeah, I mean, he's got some bounce to him. He's got some length to him. So he's a good athlete, 3-sport athlete, I believe. In the star index, he's sitting at 87th percentile. So a lot of good indicators there. Yeah, they just got knocked out of the playoffs and didn't have the greatest performance. Not feeling super confident in him being able to contribute right away, even though I was hoping he was trending that way. So I don't know. He's a guy I'm gonna have to like sort of revisit his senior tape altogether and try to get a better feel for him.
Yeah, those dunks were nice. He's 6'3", so not a given, but any decent athlete 6'2" or higher should probably be able to dunk. Those are fast breaks and weren't incredibly athletic, but still there. We'll see some other ones though as we keep going. There's some guys who can really impressively do some things. And Matt Zollers is a guy coming up next, another 5-star. We got a bunch of 5-stars in this class. QB5 on the industry, going to Missouri, although I believe he might be sniffing around some other schools right now. But yeah, so this was from, I think, junior year or something. Just some casual dunking out in the gym, not in game or anything. It said it was a pre-workout, some dunks, but still impressive. This guy is 6'3", 203 and 96 star index, which we like. There's a little off the backboard. 4-sport guy, and he is athletic. We can see it on tape. He's going to contribute some in the run game. and he had an unfortunate injury this year. But Matt Zollers, confirmed athletic, doing some fun stuff there. So I think he's a fun guy and kind of confirmed some of the athleticism there. Sorry about the next guy, David. Deuce Knight, guy we all really like, was committed to Notre Dame now. We've talked about it, but he'll be going to Auburn. So if you can muster up the courage here, you can still maybe say some nice things about Deuce Knight as I roll the tape.
Of course, it's easy to say nice things about Deuce Knight. I hope for his success. So he's right here. You can see on the fast break. I mean, he's got incredible length too, but I believe he's got, what does he have? A 36-inch vertical, 128-inch broad, which is like 99th percentile. There's a little bit of tip slam there.
Back, yeah.
He's if you watch his full tape too, he's a really good shot blocker, and he actually has pretty good touch on his 3-pointers too, which surprised me. I kind of expected him to be like full blown, just like out athleting everyone, but like he's got touch too.
That last one, there's some Wemby shit, like blocking the 3-pointer and running it to dunk on the other side.
Blocking and then taking it yourself the whole way. I mean, superb athlete. I think he's 96th percentile in the star index. So yeah, he's a freak for sure.
Absolutely. Another guy was a 5-star, I think, at one point, kind of has dropped this senior season. QB8 industry, George McIntyre, 6'6", 190. So, I mean, he should be able to dunk at 6'6". And you have there coming into the lane, pretty nice one there. And then right down the middle coming up to dunk. So, he's a fun guy, but definitely way more projection, in my opinion. He's a 35-star index, despite being a multi-sport guy. He's really his speed, even though he's kind of a dual threat. I mean, 5 flat 40 pretty much, and 19.7 max miles per hour. So, although I think he's billed as a bit of a dual threat, I'm not sure that's going to translate. He's got a lot to work on. I think he's a raw prospect, but he can dunk. A guy who's risen up our boards, David, is Bryce Baker. We got a couple dunks here. So walk us through what you think about him. I think we're all kind of, slowly liking him more and more as the process has gone on.
Yeah, I came across his basketball highlights before the Elite 11 after he got invited. And he impressed me quite a bit. His dunking isn't anything crazy, but as an actual basketball player, I think he's probably the best basketball player in the class, most skilled at least.
I mean, that's up there. He got pretty high on that one.
Yeah, and he's verified 6'2.5" or something like that. Honestly, I think he could have been I don't know if he would have stuck with basketball. I think he would have got Division I offers. Like his play style reminded me a lot of Jared McKean. I know a lot of people probably aren't going to know who that is on this podcast, but just scrappy, a really good ball handler, and he shot 49% from 3 at the previous school he was at as a sophomore. So I mean, he's just a really good shooter. It's another thing I like to see. We've kind of talked about that before, but he's 76%. He's 76 on the star index, and I think he'll go. So it's size adjusted. So I know once he adds weight, he'll probably get to he's got like a 79.5-inch wingspan, like pretty broad shouldered. So I think he'll get to like 220. So I think eventually he'll be like 85th in the 85th percentile or so in the star index. Just to throw that in there, a little nugget.
Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, so you're thinking, in the 80s, we really want to see 90s, but I think as a lower ranked prospect in general, he's pretty interesting. Like, he's QB 10, so he's not way down the list, but definitely not what a lot of people would say is, at the top of the QB rankings. But a guy to keep an eye on, and maybe a bit of a sleeper in your, in your drafts, because QB 10 is going to go pretty late, but I think at UNC, I don't know what the coaching future looks like at UNC, but certainly an interesting prospect. All right, so we are going to go now to Kamario Taylor. This is a guy we really like, definite dual threat who's raw going to Mississippi State, but I was able to find, he doesn't have anything on Huddle or anything like that, but I was able to find on Twitter a nice breakaway where he kind of skies here. Pretty nasty dunk here, taking off almost from the free throw line and just throwing it down. So, we only have one evidence of one here, but confirmed athleticism. I'll play it one more time, and we like this guy anyway. But this is pretty big slam right there for Kamario Taylor, a guy that is also ranked fairly low. We're getting into the teens QBs. Malik Washington's a 4-star who we have not talked about that much, but tell me what you think about him. I'm going to roll 3 dunks here as you walk us through Malik Washington, QB 13.
Yeah, he's having a really good senior year. He finally got his yards per attempt over 9, which is good to see. These dunks aren't anything amazing, but it does show. Listen, honestly, the fact that we have this many dunkers at quarterback position in this class is actually a lot. I don't think people kind of realize that, but I mean, this dude's 6'3", 215 is put together really well, and he's a good basketball player. And right here, he's in a full-out sprint.
Yeah.
And he's under control, and he can get up and dunk. So, I mean, that shows a lot of athleticism right there.
Yeah, I think I like to see
him at 21 miles per hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got him at 21.
Sorry.
21 max, which is real fast for a quarterback. I mean, that's very fast. If you're in the 20s, you're doing well. So 21 is really good. 38-inch vert. He's an interesting guy that I haven't really thought about that much, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's I'm surprised I thought he'd be a little bit. I think maybe the 2-sport thing holds him down a little bit from being higher.
Yeah.
But
we do that a lot. Yeah.
I think he'll be at the very least a good fantasy player for college.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to Lloyd Jones, who's a guy with a very high star index. He's ranked QB 23 in the industry, but we love to see a guy with 94 star index going to Texas Tech, strongest arm in the class with a 60 velocity, 6'2", 210. And you'll see here this like composite of a few different dunks for Lloyd Jones. I think it was sophomore year. And I believe his nickname was maybe Chubby because it said like Chubby's dunks or something on the reel. But yeah, I mean, he's got a number of them here. The defense doesn't look great with this green team, but yeah, it's coming into the lane and just like body control, ups, athleticism, and you're going to have this with the strongest arm in the class. I mean, sign me up. You got a steal here, full court, taking it himself. Very exciting prospect, 20 max miles per hour, 20.5. So, very good enough to get a lot, chewing up a lot of yards on the ground as well. So, just confirming here, there's the alley-oop. So, you just love to see this on a guy who's ranked real low. And unless you follow the official or your league mates are following the official, I think he's going to be kind of a value once it comes to draft time. All right, moving on to Grayson Wilson. I think we only have one. He's a dude going to Arkansas, out of the state of Arkansas. David, you, I believe, added this guy to the list today. You must have found a dunk somewhere on Twitter.
Yeah, he's a 3-sport athlete, which I like. Nothing crazy. It's just one dunk I threw in there. Kind of a straight liner type guy, but nonetheless, I think he throws. So we only have a 50 max velocity on his in-game in football, so that's not anything great. Would prefer to see better than that, but for college, it's fine. But he does. Apparently, he throws like 92 on the mound or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to find a better throw on his senior tape. But he's 23 in the star index. I think he's higher. He should be higher eventually than that. But solid size as well, 6'2", 208. So maybe just a name to know, not really a guy you're going to draft, but just be aware of him, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Arkansas depth chart is anything to write home about right now. 50 velo, yeah, that's probably really holding him back. But if it's higher than that, I mean, sometimes our methods aren't foolproof, and 92 on the mound is really good. That should equate to, I think, more than a 50. So maybe, like you said, we can see an increase there on his star index. All right, and then we have a deep Felix Sharp from long range here with Hezekiah Melender. I'll be honest, had not seen this name before. 3-star QB 96 in the industry rankings. Headed to Boise State. But a dual threat guy, 4'8", 40, so not crazy, but a 35-inch vert. He can certainly, chew up ground on the football field. And we've got a dunk here, and headed to Boise State. I mean, out of the state of Georgia as well, so like definitely a football hotbed. I watched a little bit of him today on the gridiron, and was kind of impressed with the arm. We don't have an official velocity on him right now, I don't think, but certainly a name to kind of know. Honestly, just like every year, you should probably just check out the Boise State commitments, because even though it's G5, like they do a really good job. Not everyone's going to be Ashton Janty, but Taylon Green was originally a Boise State guy. He's now relevant at Arkansas. They've obviously had a bunch of other guys come through, so I think their scouting department's pretty savvy. Interesting kid out of Georgia to get him to commit all the way to Boise State. So definitely a name, I think, to kind of tuck way back in the back of your mind. Well, that'll do it for us. That's the QBs. We got the dunks going, and wide receivers up next. This has been The Official.